When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Everything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a boat out of the blue, fate steps in and pulls you through. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do. Fate is kind. She brings to those who love the sweet fulfillment of their secret longing. Like a boat out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
On a clear day, how it will astound you, and you'll see just who you are. On a clear day, how it can astound you, that the glow of your being outshines every star. You'll feel part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near like you've never heard before. On that clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and evermore. On a clear day, rise and look around you, and you'll see just who you are. On a clear day, how it will astound you, that the glow of your being outshines every star. You will feel a part of every mountain, sea, and shore. You can hear from far and near like you've never heard before. On that clear day, on that clear day, you can see forever and ever and ever and evermore.
Wider than a mile, I'm crossing you in style someday. Oh, dream maker, you heartbreaker, wherever you're going, I'm going your way. Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same rainbows and waiting around the bend. My huckleberry friend, Moon River, and me. Two drifters off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're after the same rainbows and waiting around the bend, my huckleberry friend, Blue River, and me.
Which one are we doing?
Gray skies are gonna clear up. Put on a happy face. Brush off the clouds and cheer up. Put on a happy face. Take off that gloomy mask of tragedy. That's not your style. You look so good that you'll be glad you can smile. Put out a pleasant outlook. Stick out that noble chin. Wipe off that full of doubt look. Slap on a happy grin. And spread sunshine all over the face. If you put on a happy face. Gray skies are gonna clear up. Put on a happy face. Brush off the clouds and cheer up. Put on a happy face. Take off that gloomy mask of tragedy. It's not your style. You'll look so good that you'll be glad you decided to smile. Pick out a pleasant outlook. Stick out that noble chin. Wipe off that full of doubt look. Come on and slap on a happy grin. And spread your sunshine all over the place. And put on a happy, put on a happy, put on a happy face. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, friends. My name is Claudia Carawan, and I'm the music director at Unity of Bon Air. And I had the great privilege of serving with Joyce for over 19 years. In 2012, the board of Unity of Bon Air asked me if I would write a song as a gift to thank Reverend Joyce for the magnificent job she was doing as our leader. And so I wrote the song I'm about to share. And through the years, we've performed it a couple times and modified it every time we reached another milestone. And so this is probably the last time I will perform this song for Joyce. Our story began many years ago at Bon Air Unity. We searched for the perfect person to lead our community. So the call went out, we searched far and wide for the perfect teacher, leader and guide, someone level-headed and true. We found it all in you. You've got the joy, you've got the love, and a passion for life. We are in awe of you. Do it all with kindness and grace so true. Wonderful Joyce, we celebrate you. We celebrate you. You began your spiritual journey with a jar of peanut butter. Yet you taught that we can find the light in ourselves and in each other. You've a passion for life that is contagious, and a sense of humor, bold and bodacious in everything you do. Your light comes shining through. You've got the joy, you've got the love, and a passion for life. We are in awe of you. Do it all with kindness and grace so true. Wonderful Joyce, we celebrate you. We celebrate you. When it comes to ministry, you are the very best. We know we have been joiced, and that means that we've been blessed. Although we're sad that you are gone, your legacy of love goes on. So fare thee well, dear friend, until we meet again. Let's sing it. You've got the joy, you've got the love, and the passion for life. We are in love. You do it all with kindness and grace so true. Wonderful Joyce, we celebrate you. We celebrate you. We celebrate you. Now and always, we celebrate you.
Thank you, Claudia. Beautifully written and adapted for today. Just beautiful. Well, let's hear the story of Joyce Fisher Pierce. Joyce Fisher Pierce transitioned peacefully from this life in Midlothian, Virginia on May 5th, 2022. She was born in Peoria, Illinois on February 21st, 1933, the first daughter and fourth child of Edward John Paul Fisher and Edith Mabel Parker Fisher. Joyce is survived by three children: Craig Pierce of Corpus Christi with his wife, Victoria, Texas, Bruce Pierce of Mexico City, Mexico, and Marcia Pierce of Richmond, Kentucky. She is also survived by her sister, Marcia Fisher Bailey of Ann Arbor, Michigan, husband Robert Bailey, and Joyce was predeceased by her husband Raymond L. Pierce in 1992. And three older brothers, Paul Fisher, Bruce Fisher, and David Fisher. Joyce lived a fulfilling life. Yes, she did, experiencing many different paths before becoming a minister in the Unity Faith. She graduated from Jackson Milton High School in North Jackson, Ohio in 1950. She then completed her nursing certification at nearby Youngstown Hospital School of Nursing in 1954. She worked as a registered nurse from 1954 through 1971, heading surgical units, as well as serving in operating rooms in Ohio, North Carolina, and Texas. Joyce married Raymond L. Pierce in 1955, and together they welcomed into this world Craig, Bruce, and Marcia Pierce. In 1975, Joyce earned a BA in journalism at the University of Texas in El Paso, Texas. With her writing skills, as well as her ability to inspire others and her knowledge of hospitals after years of nursing, she shifted into public relations work for the hospitals. She served first as the PR director of St. Joseph's Hospital in El Paso from 1971 to 1980, after which she became PR director at Hotel Dieu Hospital in El Paso from 81 to 87, and then chose to work as the PR director for the El Paso Humane Society from 1988 to 1998, where she greatly increased their fundraising efforts, especially through an annual telethon. While there, she also increased awareness of how to be kind to animals among school children through school programs and visits. She began her spiritual journey by studying Unity principles at Unity Church of El Paso. She became a licensed Unity minister, a Unity teacher during the early 1990s, and in 95, she became spiritual leader of the Unity Center of Las Cruces, New Mexico, from 1995 to 1998. In 1998, Joyce matriculated to Unity School of Christianity in Unity Village, Missouri, graduating in June of 2000. In September of that year, Joyce became the senior minister of the Unity of Bon Air, formerly Unity Christ Church of Bon Air. This position turned out to be made in heaven for Joyce. She and her church congregation grew exponentially from a few dozen members to a membership of hundreds. Her drive and her joy led to the construction of a beautiful new church building to serve the needs of its congregation. Several years later, Joyce retired as senior minister in June of 2008. Joyce was beloved by her congregation. Yes, she was. And she was always known as a creative, inspiring, and joyful spiritual leader. Joyce recently assisted in writing her memoir, Being Joyced, available now on Amazon. I have read that. If you haven't read it, it's a wonderful book. On March 20th of this year, 2022, a living celebration of Reverend Joyce was held at Unity of Bon Air, during which the church sanctuary was dedicated in her name as the Reverend Joyce Fisher Pierce Sanctuary. Very few people get to attend their own living memorials, but on that day, the church also held a book signing for her memoir. Many members of her congregation were able to express their love and joy directly to her and to give back some of what she had given them through her 18 years of leadership at the church. On Saturday, July 16th at 1 p.m., this memorial service is being held. And I want to say, on behalf of the family, how grateful they are that each one of you is here today. All right, well, every time I had the privilege of coming to speak at Unity of Bon Air at Joyce's request, and to be there at the dedication of your wonderful church home, the friendship that she and I had, not only collegiate friendship, which was very strong, but more than that, a deep personal friendship in the journey of women leaders. I loved her deeply and dearly. So, but she always had a request when I came, and that was that I would bring my amazing husband, who had his whole life has been a career singing all over the world, and many people. And she'd say, "Bring Joe. I want Joe to sing and bless our congregation with his singing." So, at this moment, I'm grateful to bring to you the amazing singer, Joe Dickey. I took my picture off, but I'm going to put it back on. Corey, you've got Joe's. There we go.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. We've come to celebrate and honor our dear Joyce, upon whose shoulders many of us have stood. And we come to rejoice with Joyce. We come to comfort each other. We come to reminisce and remember and to love one another. I think ultimately we come
piece, but know that the intention, the heart, and the meaning of that song. I don't know if you could understand when Joe said, we'd come together to celebrate an amazing being on whose shoulders many of us stood for a very long time. So we come to celebrate her. We also ultimately come to ourselves be raised up. So I'm grateful for that. So we have some remembrances now. And first we're going to start with Reverend Patty Bittner. So Reverend Patty, if you will begin the remembrances and then pass on to each person who's next, all right?
We're actually starting with the family.
This time I'll take my mask off when I'm up here. Okay. Get to my notes. All right. My mother started out married to my father, who was come back from the Korean War, gone to ROTC and Youngstown University. He graduated with her, he graduated in 58 and went to El Paso for Officers Basic. My mother was pregnant with me at the time. Some of you may remember the Kingston Trio. They were actually in Juarez, Mexico, and I have an album cover signed by the three of them that my mother had signed while she was pregnant with me. So just, old school there. And I used to play them in the Limelighters. Anyhow, back in that period, those of us are probably the 10 years, 20 years older than me, possibly, but I'm very aware of it, having been a military brat. The coming out of World War II, people were couples, the husband worked, the wife stayed home. Well, the military, the officers, worked, they went to the Army. The wives did their social thing, and they have their own military structure. And so the wives of junior officers basically, obey the wives of senior officers. And at one point in time, my mother was called by the general's wife. And the general's wife said, you will bring to the tea, the ladies' tea, X, Y, or Z. And my mother said, I'm sorry, but I'm not going. I'm working. And it trickled down to my father that one of his buddies, another fellow officer, a couple days later said, your wife is going to ruin your career. So I thought that was cute. My mother, when my father deployed to Thailand, she worked as a nurse. When my father deployed to Vietnam, she sold real estate lots in Florida. And my parents, they bought too. But I mean, she would bring couples over to the house at night, and we'd have to be quiet because she was making a sales pitch, And Bruce told me that he later on asked Dad, why did we buy swampland? Why did we buy swampland in Florida? And Bruce said, Dad replied, don't laugh, kid. Don't laugh, kid. That was your college education. While my dad was in Vietnam, my mother, because the Surgeon General had, recently come out with, smoking's not good for you. It causes cancer. So my mother quit while my father was in Vietnam, which makes sense. You don't want to be around a smoker if you're trying to quit. I mean, she weaned herself down to Tuparillo cigars and finally quit. And years later, of course, we're used to COVID signs. Well, my house had the no smoking, please, no smoking inside signs went up. Anyhow, 1970 in El Paso, we moved there after my dad came back from Vietnam, and my mother went to work for St. Joseph's Hospital teaching nursing aides, and certifying them. And she saw the PR director, and she told the PR director, she saw the PR director in action, told the minister, Sister Bernadette Marie, I can do a better job than her. So, Sister Bernadette Marie gave her, the job. And coincidentally, they were in the process of building this brand new, beautiful hospital building. So, having a good PR director really made sense. My mother actually got, some of you may remember a General Stafford, more specifically, astronaut Stafford. He commanded the Apollo-Soyuz mission. My mother got this active duty general to fly into El Paso to go to the grand opening. I remember that because I was in my Boy Scout uniform. So she was pulling strings even back then. So, 1980, a very telling moment. I was 3 years I'd been in El Paso, going to school at UT El Paso. I was the kid that was there when all my school friends flew in. And one of them was a woman that was actually in the second class of female cadets at West Point. She actually went on to become a major general before she retired. But I would pick them up at the airport, take them home, I'd take them out, socialize. And I came home one night and I was just in tears. And I'm like, Mom, I feel like, I'm the guy here that I entertain people when they come, but, then they leave. And my mother just looked at me and said, go, just go. And that was really, that was nice. Skipping ahead, I had to go, it's like, get out of here, go off to Austin, get your degree there. In 1996, jumping years forward, we were in Turin, Italy, and we went to see the ruins of Pompeii, and the taxi driver from Rome, he's probably thinking the 62-year-old lady and her kids, they'll be going home in 2 hours. My mother was like the last person out of the ruins at, 5:30 p.m. Getting really into more serious stuff, I noticed in the 1990s, as I was hanging around with my mother, something that was very different. Most people, we get older, we get less patient, we get less tolerant, we get less accepting. My mother was different. Those things were just falling away from her. She was becoming more patient, more tolerant, more accepting. And I could her humanness was just, sloughing away. I could see that. It was very visual. Some final things that she shared, and I'll get off the stage here, is that in her last few days, my mother, we were talking about her passing, and she made a point of saying, I'm not going anywhere. She's here right now, guys and gals. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just not where you can see me. So she shared that with me. So, I'm not going anywhere. And then some points that I shared the last time I shared, I'll be brief on these, not the long monologue. I told that Sunday morning before I came to you, May 1st, and I had told my mother that, I feel like I don't think about God enough, and my mom said, that's okay. A lot of people don't think about God as much as they would want to. And then I went on to, I don't pray enough. And she said, that's okay. A lot of people don't pray as often as they would like. And then I went, then I really threw it out there. I said, I really don't think I have a good technique of prayer. And she said, that's okay too. I have to acknowledge that since then it occurred to me that, hey, there are, it's like all sorts of religions, there are all sorts of different ways to pray. It's just a matter of finding one you're comfortable with. And so that was a gift my mother gave to me on that final Sunday before I left. Thank you.
All right, I'm her daughter, wearing her jacket. Joyce and I traveled a whole lot, not just the Italian trip, but we went to New York together, we went to Disney. You probably saw the photos. Her last trip to Disney, we got her a scooter, and some tourists were crowding her really bad, and she panicked and pulled the accelerator. And Their shins were a little dinged up, I will say that. She was very apologetic, but they got out of her way after that. It was really good. That trip to Italy was fun. He didn't mention this, but she actually fell in Pompeii. When we were walking, she tripped and fell. So she still just kept on going after she had fallen. She just kept going and going and going through Pompeii. So she loved the trip to Italy. They had one adventure where I wasn't present, where they tried to stop an express train. Joyce was holding the doors, and the conductor was not happy with her. And my brother was on the train screaming for me, and I was oblivious somewhere else. So, yeah, we did a lot of things together, and she was a wonderful person.
So our sound tech tells me we have Joe Dickey's song fixed. So Joyce loved that song, so we're going to give it another chance before we continue on.
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. We've come to celebrate and honor our dear Joyce, upon whose shoulders many of us have stood. And we come to rejoice with Joyce. We come to comfort each other. We come to reminisce and remember and to love one another. And I think ultimately we come to be raised up. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to all that I can be. You raise me up to all that I can
Thank you. That was great that we had to have that all the way through. So it's wonderful to hear Craig and Marcia's stories. So I'm Reverend Patty Bittner, and I'm the minister, the temporary minister here right now. And my story with Joyce started when I showed up at the little white church like a bird with a broken wing. I was leaving a marriage of 27 years, feeling humiliated by that, feeling all apart. And I show up this Sunday morning. Well, first I have to tell you, so my husband, ex, started coming before I started coming here, and we had an amicable split. We both still loved each other, and so I would talk to him, and he would say, and Joyce said this, and Joyce said that, and Joyce said this. Well, even though I didn't want him in my life, I wasn't sure I wanted some other woman running his life either, right? So I had to come see who was telling him all this stuff. I'm going, is this some gorgeous young chick, or what is this? And I come and fall in love with Joyce myself. So I showed up the first Sunday. She's speaking. She's leading the meditation. She's up in the front of the room just being this alive, vibrant person. And I'm sitting and I was wondering, I'd stepped away from serving the Presbyterian church I'd been serving, and I was wondering, what in the hell am I going to do with my life? Yada, yada, yada. And I just get it that I want what she's having. And this amazing woman befriends me. Within a few weeks, I was in her office saying, I want to become an ordained unity minister. How do I do that? And she's on it. We called Mark Fuss that very day, and he didn't answer the phone. But anyway, we found our way to helping me get credentialed and become a unity minister. And it just went from one heart place to a deeper heart place as Joyce supported me and loved me. And I remember so clearly the morning I was standing right over there, and she put the unity stole on me so everyone here could participate and be a part of that in my life. So I'm so grateful for the love that she shared and this vibrancy of her being that took me from this place of not knowing, confusion, uncertainty, into having a sense of that's what my life can be again. So it was just so fabulous. I have to tell you one more story from when I was living with her. So one of our members called and said she wanted to come visit, and I said, great. So this wonderful soul comes in, and we're sitting in the living room, and as it happens, as you get older, body parts don't behave the way they're supposed to. So we started having this conversation about how body parts weren't functioning. But instead of it being this oh, poor me thing, before you knew it, we were in hysterics. And we were just laughing till tears were running down our face. That's what the gift of Joyce is, because where there is great love, there is always miracles. And instead of cussing your body out, you end up laughing and seeing the lighter side of things. So before I sit down, I want to invite us to do one of Joyce's favorite activities and do the laughing yoga bit together, because she's right here with us, and the sound of our laughter will be the perfect thing to do. So it has to start with, you have to do a little bit of forcing to begin, but once you look around and see everybody else laughing and hear everybody else laughing, it just comes rolling out. So if you want to stand up, you can. If you want to stay in your seat, but I definitely recommend looking at everybody else while we're doing this. So we're going to do this on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, perfect. Thank you all for playing along. Now I'm going to invite one of the members of the board when Joyce was hired to come and speak next. Rusty, please come up.
Okay, everybody hear me? My name is Rusty Rothrock, and I am one of the trustees here at church, along with Tom Lehman and Jane Gordon. I was president of the board for 3 years back in 98, 99, and 2000. Some of you might not know this, but these were very trying times for our church back then. You see, we were surviving without a minister for 2 years. Every Sunday we had a guest speaker. It was tough maintaining a church and trying to grow a congregation when you had guest speakers every week. In fact, one Sunday in September of 98, we had as little as 18 people in church. It was the spring of 2000, and we finally received an interesting resume. It was from a soon-to-be graduating ministerial student from Unity Worldwide Ministries. This candidate seemed different from the others who have sent their resumes to us. She had been married, had a grown family, and has worked as a nurse along with being in public relations before deciding to go to ministerial school. Her name was Joyce Fisher Pierce. We decided to do a telephone interview with the candidate, and as soon as we get one organized. She sounded great on the phone. She had all the right answers to our questions, and we agreed on a future date that she would visit our church and do a Sunday service. When Reverend Joyce came to Richmond, she really seemed to like the area. She liked all the trees that were in Bon Air, and especially the beauty of the James River. As for our little church, she was amazed at the renovations we had made to our residential house that we had bought in '96. We had a comfortable sanctuary that would sit 100 people. But there were 3 things that I feel really caught her eye on this visit. One, the new addition we were in the midst of building that included a new minister's office with a large bay window looking out to the front lawn. 2 was our incredible 2 acres of gardens out behind our church. And 3, that our location on Buford Road that had 1,000 cars going by our church every day. This really got her excited. We made Joyce an offer that she soon accepted, and her contract had an effective date of September 1, 2000. As they say, the rest is history. Fast forward to around 2008. The original congregation had grown 5-fold. The church was overflowing with people every Sunday. There was standing room only in the kitchen, the hallway, and the rear deck. Reverend Joyce asked Ellie Neubauer to head up a committee concerning growing the church. We needed more space. Ellie called the committee the Dream Catchers. Love you, Ellie. I know you're watching out there. The final conclusion of Dream Catchers was that they would build a new church behind the old church in the backyard. We needed to start a large fundraising drive, and we needed a name for the project. Reverend Joyce came up with a catchy name, Making More Room for God. And Claudia wrote a fantastic song about it. Obviously, our dream came true. Reverend Joyce has left us all with little phrases that we all value and can use every week, such as, you can't outgive love. I can't wait to see what good happens from this. God is good all the time. Thank you, people. There is no time in God. And I love this one. Give, give, give until it feels real good. Reverend Joyce has left us with a strong foundation. We now have a campus that is worth $2.8 million, and with a mortgage of only $514,000 as of this month. We are sorry, say that again, $2.8 million. And 514 as of this month. We are blessed to have many good people. We have a thriving Montessori school that is bringing kids and young parents. And we have some very exciting projects that are in the works still. We all know that dying is a part of life. It's just a case of the body giving out. Like Craig said, the soul continues to live on. It's like the person is gone, but just went to another room in the house. Reverend Joyce, I will always feel honored and proud of being a part of this amazing Unity of Bonaire success story. I salute you. Job well done. We will always love you. We will always keep your spirit, and we will always know that you'll be in the room next door. Thank you, and God bless.
It's not fair. I'm Susan Green, and my husband Howard and I are members here. I've known Joyce since early 2005. I'm the coordinator here of our prayer chaplain ministry and co-coordinator of our fellowship coffee ministry and a few other random things. As per the title of her book, I was first Joyced in a very big way when she asked me, along with my friend Don Winkler back in 2007, to take over leadership of the prayer chaplain ministry. I had only been a prayer chaplain for 1 year, and now she had us leading it. I really appreciate the faith that she had in me and in Don in giving us her baby, because she had 3 or 4 very specific goals and visions when she came here, and having a prayer chaplain ministry was one of them. And it's still going strong in its 18th year. Reverend Joyce often told us chaplains how much she appreciated us because we were an extension of her. The way this congregation was growing, the number of people that were here, there was no way that she alone could provide that amount of prayer support to everyone. And over this 18-year span of time, I know because I keep the records, we have shared a minimum of 50,000 prayers with people in this congregation on the phone, in visits after Sunday services. And because of that, because of Joyce's dream and mission, I believe we've supported a whole lot of people who have stayed with us and been comforted by that. When I learned that Joyce had worked 20 years as a nurse and 30 years in public relations, it was really clear to me to see how she grew this place and how she did this. The compassion and the intuitiveness of a nurse is what she shared with us. And we kept coming back to feel more of that through her prayers, through her amazing messages, her counseling, and her joy. And public relations is simply another way of saying, you've been Joyced. She inspired a multitude of us, and we gave of our time, our talent, and our treasure to build this beautiful spiritual center and its outreach, and we've become a family. Joyce was always thinking of how she could support her congregants. One time after Howard and I did just a little tiny kitchen remodeling, she said she wanted to come over and see it, so we invited her over for dinner. We thought it was just dinner, but Joyce came prepared and bestowed upon our home and us a beautiful home blessing. She brought and read from a framed blessing someone had given her one time before when she moved into her house. And she was ready to just give us the whole thing and let us hang it on the wall. I convinced her I could make a copy and she could take that back home. Now, it was during this same dinner that evening, there was an incident that occurred, and I did share it when we roasted Joyce a little when she was getting ready to retire. She always taught us an abundance mentality, but that evening as I was picking up some things to carry them back to the kitchen, I heard her lean over to Howard and whisper, "Is she not going to give us any more green beans?" So apparently there was at least a little scarcity mentality, at least around green beans. A church, as we know, relies on volunteers, what we call love in action. And Joyce knew a thing or two about appreciating and encouraging our volunteers. She was always supportive, extremely so, and if I ever needed her input or her creativity, she was there for me. Now, truth be told, she didn't mind using a little coercion as well to get people to raise their hands. When we moved from the little house to here, our fellowship coffee leader had stepped down, and no one yet had stepped up, and Joyce said, "No volunteers, no coffee." Howard and I raised our hands and got it going. Joyce taught us, too, that we have to love ourselves and appreciate ourselves before we can really, truly love another person. She was the only minister I ever heard tell an entire congregation to go home, maybe take off your clothes, look at yourself in a mirror, and tell you how much you love yourself and how beautiful you are and how wonderful you are, and to do that over and over. The other thing is that if you were a speaker here and you tried to go back to your seat while people are clapping, Joyce would say, "Stand up and accept your applause." I know successfully leading and growing a church is not just being able to give a great message on Sunday morning. There are finances to manage, staff to supervise, a board to collaborate with, volunteers to recruit and maintain. Congregants are happy, congregants are not happy. The responsibilities of a church leader, a minister, go on, and I don't know that we all as lay people recognize that huge picture, and I believe she did it all very well. I used to train people in leadership, and one of the books I like to train from by, James Kouzes and Barry Posner was called The Leadership Challenge. And in that, they describe 5 practices of exemplary leadership, which they say when you execute them well, you go from getting things done to making great things happen. And these 5 things I want to share with you because I think they sum up Reverend Joyce. First, model the way. Joyce set an example of what she would be and what she expected us to do and to be. Second, inspire a shared vision. Boy, did she do that. So everyone is motivated to achieve it. Third, challenge the status quo. Challenge the way things are done or the way things people tell you have always been done, and look for those opportunities and take them. Fourth, empower others to act, which is what she did as well. She fostered collaboration and engaged us to join with her. And finally, and possibly her greatest attribute, encourage the heart. Joyce shared her heart with us, and she genuinely cared about her team. It's through her love and her leadership that we've all laughed really hard, we've played really hard, we've worked really hard, and here we are in this wonderful home. When our prayer chaplains step down from service, they become emeriti chaplains. And emeritus is someone who has served honorably and has shared their gifts or their talents. We ceremoniously tell these chaplain emeriti, "Well done, good and faithful servant," from the parable of the talents in the book of Matthew. Jesus used this to emphasize that we each have God-given gifts and that we are expected to use those and to share them. Reverend Joyce Fisher Pierce used hers extremely well and served us honorably. I say to her, well done, good and faithful servant, and I invite you to say that as well. Well done, good and faithful servant. Thank you.
Well, hello, beautiful people. It's good to be here. I thank Claudia and Mary Morrissey for asking me to come today. I'm not in her Joyce's church right now, but I'm definitely a product of her church. I said, my name is Reverend Ann Francis. I'm the first minister that was birthed out of this church. I got to this church in 2001. I sat in the very back of that white church. I left every time they did greet each other because it was the most happy church that I'd ever been into, and I didn't know exactly what they were doing, but I was raised Catholic and we didn't do that in a church. So I went to the bathroom. My marriage was ending, but my life in unity at Bonnier was starting. I also left before the end of service because they did a repeat every Sunday at Greet Your Neighbor and then Greet Your Neighbor again at the end of service, so I left her in a hurry. And one day Joyce said, I remember the day you went from the back of the pew, the back of the church, and sat right there. And she knew exactly where I sat. And what Joyce did was Joyce taught principle. But Joyce didn't teach principle, she lived principle. But she didn't just live principle. She wanted us to get it too. And when we got it, she soared. She became the wind behind so many of our wings. So, every January, first Sunday in January, not only did she do the white stone ceremony, but she invited 2 or 3 of us to come and share our desires and our dreams in front of an entire congregation. And then she asked the entire congregation to hold that dream for us. And I remember the day Claudia Carawan came up and said that she wanted a CD. And we all saw it in our mind's eye happen. And then later on, we had the celebration of her first CD, and the sanctuary in that white church was packed. She held that dream and told us to hold it for them. Deb Childs came up one day and said she wanted to write a book. Deb's written several books. And for me, she asked one day, will you come up and talk about being a licensed Unity teacher? And I was like, whoa. I don't know if you know how that feels, because once you say it out loud in a group of people, you can't go back on it. They were expecting some sort of experience to happen. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, Joyce. That's like, well, you keep saying you want to do it. Like, put your money where your mouth is, Ann Francis. So I got up here and I said, I would like you all to hold with me that I want to be a licensed Unity teacher. And I challenge anyone in here that if you want to do it, come do it with me. And Valerie Kay came on board with it. And that's how the energy of truth works. It's not for one, it's for many. And then it was Zita Carell who kept saying, you're going to be a minister, and I asked her to just stay away from me on any good moment. So one day, Joyce carries me over to John Strickland and said, John, she wants to be a Unity minister. And he said, Ann, fight it and fight it and fight it some more. And when you can't fight it, oh, you're already there. Just go do it. The glory of this church was every month while I was in seminary, I got a check from the church, and I also got a personal check from Joyce Fisher Pierce. They made sure that I could make it through, and we give thanks. So what Mary Morrissey said was, she helped us all who were willing to realize our dreams. So one Sunday early on, before I got the total idea of this, I was leaving church, and in my mind, keep in mind I come from a Catholic upbringing, I asked her, why does she always talk about money? Now, whether she did or not, I don't know, but that's what I heard. And she shared that people needed a tangible experience of an outpicturing manifestation of God, and they either did it in finances or in health. So she was going to teach us to do it with money, because quite frankly, health is a lot of more work. So she talked about just step forward in faith and give, and have the demonstration in your life. It will never fail you. You can't outgive God. So I had to laugh, because Joyce Fisher Pierce showed up at my house today. I was in Virginia Beach and getting ready, and everything seems slow with my new one. I did kind of think, well, Joyce, you did a knee, so did I. I hope now we each we're complete in the knee world. And I thought, gee, I need to write a check out to Unity, and I'm going to use my church, Unity Christ Church of Bon Air, in loving memory of someone who changed my life. So I get my checkbook out, and I hear a figure, and I start writing the check out, and then I hear Joyce, give till it feels real good. I take a deep breath, and I'm like, okay, fine. I get the checkbook out again. I write the second check. I want you to know I feel real good. So I do have an envelope with 2 checks here for Unity Church of Bon Air, because that's what Joyce showed us. Either in health or finances, open your heart up to living principle. You can't ever outgive God. So I thank you, Joyce Fisher Pierce, for everything you taught us. One person at a time, one situation at a time. Godspeed wherever you are. I know if you showed up at my house this morning, you'll show up whenever you're needed. You helped people find their wings so that they could fly. And I truly say this, namaste, Joyce. I truly behold the Christ you are, the Christ as you. You changed lives. Yes, you were a fine and faithful servant. You heard your Jesus Christ calling, and you set out and you changed people's lives. And for that, many of us are grateful. Namaste.
Wow. So, Reverend Joyce was a masterful teacher, and she had a helpful way of summarizing every lesson that she taught by condensing them into short, easy to memorize affirmations, expressions, or songs. Just like Rusty was talking about, all those Joycisms. Through the years, we heard these sayings, or Joycisms, over and over again. So the music team would like to present, this is my opinion, the 7 most popular expressions of Reverend Joyce Fisher Pierce, right? So this is a musical countdown. We're going to begin with number 7, which was a beautiful song from a musical. There's a bright golden haze in our gardens. There's a bright golden haze in our gardens. The trees are as high as an elephant's eye, and it looks like they're climbing straight up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Everything's going my way. All right, that was number 7. Now, some of these expressions really didn't even have a melody. So we put a melody to them, okay? This is one that I remembered because I struggled sometimes with finding work and finding work that paid me adequately. And so number 6 in our countdown is, I got wonderful work. 1, 2, here we go. I got wonderful work. I got wonderful work. In a wonderful way.
In a wonderful way.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
I get paid to play.
I got paid today.
I got wonderful work.
I got wonderful work.
In a wonderful way.
In a wonderful way.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
I get paid to play. One last time.
I get paid to play.
I get paid to play.
I get paid to play.
Yes. The next popular expression in our countdown is an oldie but a goodie, a well-known song with a great message. Feel free to sing along with me. Accentuate the positive. You got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. In Between. You've got to spread joy up to the maximum, bring gloom down to the minimum. Have faith or pandemonium is liable to walk upon the scene. To illustrate my last remark, Jonah in the whale, Noah in the ark. What did they do just when everything looked so dark? They said, you got to accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative, latch on to the affirmative, don't mess with Mr. In Between. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. Don't mess with Mr. In Between. Oh, yeah. Thank you, and thank you, Joyce. Yeah, if we were experiencing health challenges, Joyce would tell us to start every day by singing this little ditty. It's a little affirmation. Number 4 on our countdown is every little cell. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, here we go. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so fine, I feel just swell. Every little cell in my body is well. I'm so fine, I feel just swell. Every little cell in my body is well. One more time. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Every little cell in my body is happy. Every little cell in my body is well. Oh, thank you, Joyce. All right, moving right along. Let's see here. Just a few more in the countdown. Okay, this is, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of her most popular expressions. So, you were bound to hear this one if you were going through some kind of a difficulty. Because what she would say, instead of throwing a pity party for you, she'd say, I can hardly wait to see what wonderful good will come from this. Hit it. I wonder what good will come from this. I wonder what good will come from this. I'm keeping my eyes open, 'cause I don't want to miss the wonderful good that'll come from this. I wonder what good will come from this. I wonder what good will come from this. I'm keeping my eyes open, 'cause I don't want to miss the wonderful good that'll come from this. Yeah. All right, that was number 3. Thank you. Number 2 is a popular song from a Disney movie that reminds us all to see the wonder and joy in each day by saying zippity-doo-dah. Here we go. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-day. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine headed my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-hey. Mr. Bluebird on my shoulder. It's the truth, it's actual. Everything is satisfaction. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-hey. Wonderful feeling, wonderful day. Wonderful feeling, wonderful day. Oh. Now, I know the way you think. You're probably wondering, what could be number 1? We've covered all the great slogans of Reverend Joyce, but there's one that was, she said it all the time, and I need a prop to pull this one off, so excuse me while I grab something. And a drum roll. The number 1 expression of Reverend Joyce Fisher Pierce was, "Yay, God!" 1, 2, 3. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Oh, yeah. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yeah. One more time. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, God. Yay, You can't forget these lessons because they're earworms for all of us. Thank you, Joyce.
So the family has requested that we hear this particular reading at this point in our service together. It's written by Henry Van Dyke. I think it really accurately says what Joyce was communicating when she said, "Look, I'm not gone, I'm just in another room." And I do believe that. When we speak to her, we hear her. That spirit knows, in spirit, there's no separation. So we only build that separation in us by focusing on the physical side. If we focus on her presence that we felt when she was in that pulpit each week and in between times, we drew strength from Joyce's being. That hasn't gone anywhere. We can do that now. I'm standing upon the seashore. A ship at my side spreads her white sails to the morning breeze and starts for the blue ocean. She's an object of beauty and strength. I stand and watch her until at length she hangs like a speck of white cloud just where the sea and sky come to mingle with each other. Then someone at my side says, there she's gone. Gone where? Gone from my sight, that is all. She is just as large in mast and hull and spar as she was when she left my side. And she was just as able to bear her load of living freight to her destined port. Her diminished size is in me, not in her. And just at the moment when someone at my side says, there she's gone, there are other eyes watching her coming, and other voices ready to take up the glad shout, here she comes. And that is dying. So we're going to do one more thing that here before I do the final prayer that we know Joyce would really want let us in many, many times. Claudia, I think you're leading this part.
Thank you, Mary. I performed so many memorial services with Joyce through the years, and she did something that I had never seen another church do in a memorial service. She'd tell the congregation or those in attendance that although your loved one might not be here with you, you can still express your enthusiasm and joy right now by a standing ovation. And then she'd invite everybody to stand up and give a standing ovation for the person that we love so dearly. Let's do it for Reverend Joyce. We love you!
Amazing. Before I take us into our closing prayer, I want to thank every one of you who got on stage today, those of you who performed with amazing music that brought us great joy and comfort today, and all of you, every single word was very, very impactful. So for all of us, let's just thank our speakers today and our musicians and the sound techs and all the people who put together this service. All right. I want to draw on a Persian poet.
What a wonder it is.
He wrote a wonderful book called The Prophet. It's about a prophet who comes to an island and they ask him about the meaning of life. And at one point they ask him the meaning of death. And I'll just read a short segment from that as we go into our prayer. We would now ask of death. And he said, "You would know the secret of death, but how shall you find it unless you seek it in the heart of life? Or what is it to die but to stand naked in the wind and melt into the sun? What is it to cease breathing but to free the breath from its restless tides that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? Only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth has claimed your limbs, then shall you truly dance." Let's close our eyes together. We see this for you, dear Joyce. We see you wrapped in the arms of God who gave you this life and continues to give you life. We see for you that you have not only done an amazing difference-making life here for thousands and thousands of people, but that life is the entry point to this next life of impact and difference-making for you. So we too join in wondering what good will come out of this that will continue to bless all of us and all the realms. We know the love of God surrounds you. The power of God is presencing right where you are. So the light of God not only surrounds you, but it surrounds all of us. The power of God is protecting us. The presence of God is watching over us. When we know that right where Joyce is and right where we are, God is, then we truly know that all is well. We consecrate your soul to the care and the keeping of the one in true light, our God. Amen. And so it's been my privilege to share in your experience today in celebrating the amazing Joyce Fisher Pierce.
What a wonder it is. And you have no idea, Claudia, everybody, how deeply I'm touched by this morning. This is just gorgeous. So let's get on the lighter side and let's do a cheer. And it's a yay God. Ready? Yay! Yay!
I know there's a reception being held now for all of you. So we hope you'll stay, share Joyce stories, and particularly share your stories with the family.
Thank you so very much, Mary. Thank you. Enjoy the reception. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a wonderful day. Plenty of sunshine headed my way. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder. It's the truth, it's factual. Everything is satisfactory. Zippity-doo-dah.